Thank you very much. Thank you. Who knows that tune? Belle from Beauty and the Beast. It is a very happy, heartwarming song.
We should have had your lips instead of your shoes.
No, that's right. That would have been good.
Yeah. Do you think Marvel should create a superhero that's based on whistling?
Well, just think about it. You've got Ant-Man, Spider-Man, and Lip Man. I mean, so it makes total sense. And to be a really accomplished whistler, you have to have very strong lips because they're muscles, and you have to pucker, and pucker's not a natural shape. So I would be known for being a great kisser as a Marvel lip man. So I like that. Let's do it.
So
I might be too old, though. I don't know.
Yeah, so you've done a lot of whistling performances. I understand you don't kiss 24 hours before your performances. And is that true?
It is.
Or is that rumor? And if it is true, why is that?
It's a good problem to have. So the lips need to be fairly firm, and kissing, too much kissing, it makes them mushy. So you can't sustain the high notes if your lips are not firm and crisp. It sounds a little pornographic, but it's actually not. Okay.
So in a moment, I want to ask you about what it means to be a world champion. Like, what is, we know like the U.S. Open and Wimbledon. What is the equivalent of whistling? But before we go there, what's the technique? And I think you alluded to it a moment ago. But what's involved in whistling? I guess lungs, stomach, diaphragm.
Sure. So it is. So I love to whistle while doing things because so breath control, very important because you want to be able to sustain a nice smooth note. So in addition to the physical components that you just noted, John, what's really critical is range. So you can go high and low, and then interesting techniques. So being able to do a warble, which is kind of a snapping, which is different from a trill, much smoother. And so these are little embellishments that you can use. Have to be good at arranging the music for your instrument, for whistle. So I've whistled the National Anthem at major league sporting events, and I have to arrange it for me. And so having that skill is important, and loving to rehearse. I mean, people actually say to me, "Do you practice?" And I say, "Of course." I did a Graceland pilgrimage one year where I whistled 5 hours a day for 7 straight days. I mean, by the time I was done, my lips were like quivering, and I was dribbling. I could hardly talk, but my lips were in great shape, and be fairly competitive. I mean, the world of whistling, they're nice people, but they are ferocious, and but you don't want them to put like crazy glue in your chapstick. That would be very bad. So
what are the competitions? Is there an annual event? Does it move to different continents? Or different cultures more into whistling? Like there's yodeling, but that's probably different, right? Do you like yodelers?
I love all people, and no, yodeling is very cool. And sometimes people say to me, do you do hog calling also? And I say I don't see the connection between whistling and hog calling or yodeling, but each one is unique and each one's special. So there is an international competition for whistling. It has been going on for around 50 years or so. For the first 40 of those, it was in a small town in North Carolina called Lewisburg. It was literally the whistling capital of the world, and people from all over Germany and the Netherlands and a lot of Japanese, they are great whistlers, and a lot of Canadians, and they're even better at whistling than hockey, which is really incredible.
So you whistled in the Oval Office. How are the acoustics there?
They were great. So yes, it was pretty wild. So I worked kind of in the executive office of the president, so for George W. Bush, but I'd never met him and I didn't interact with him ever. And then one day my boss said, "Ullman, we're going to the Oval," and that's what they call the Oval, to whistle for George W. Bush. And I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm not prepared." And he said, "Well, you have to. We're going. Let's go. Get your jacket. Let's go." So I got my jacket, and while we're walking there, I said, "Well, what do you think I should do?" And he said, "Well, you got to have some standards. Just whistle some of your standards, and don't do Hail to the Chief. He doesn't like that." So it was a wild, wild experience, and this is worth depicting. So I had never even met the president. So I walk in, and he's sitting at his desk, and he's got his feet up on his desk. He's leaning back. He's got an unlit cigar in his hand. And I walk in, and he like jumps up, and he comes over to me and says, "The whistler, what can I do for you? Need some water?" He said, "What's your name? Who taught you how to whistle?" And I was like, "Dude, just all right. I'm ready to go. I'm moist and puckered. So let's just get it going here."
So I know you've whistled
okay.
in front of 60,000 people. I think it had to do with Congress or something. And I know you went kind of like Spider-Man on the outside of the Washington Monument, and you were at the top of it, and you whistled something. What was that like? And I think like there are more people who went to the moon than have stood at the top on the outside of the Washington Monument.
Anyway, Yankee Doodle. So I'm standing at the foot of the 555-foot tall Washington Monument, and it's got scaffolding on the outside because it had been damaged in the 2011 earthquake in Washington. And my someone I was with, and it was a guy named David Rubenstein, who is a noted philanthropist and financier, paid to refurbish it. And I came up with this idea of doing a photo shoot at the tippy top, 555 feet in the air. So we went up there, and he said, "While you're up there, you should whistle up there." He said, "I bet no one's ever whistled at the top of the Washington Monument." And I said, "What do you think I should whistle?" And he said, "Yankee Doodle." So I did Yankee Doodle.
Did you write your initials on the apex?
No. There is a rumor that he did. There's a rumor he also wrote "Go Duke." He's a Duke alum. And I was up there after him, and he did not do that, and nor did I.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
I'm glad you're a great whistler, and I'm glad other people can be inspired by your example. But there's some who can't whistle. Why is that? And do you feel like there should be something to help that community out?
Yes, because whistling is a joyous thing, and it makes people smile and sometimes laugh, and so it's just part of my mission in life. I mean, I have a day job, as you can imagine. Okay, and so I've met many people through the years who say, "Oh, I've tried to whistle my whole life, and I just can't do it." And I say, if that is true, there is no hope for you, because I believe it's the underlying genetic phenomenon, like the structure of your mouth. And if you've tried over and over and over again and can't do it, it's just not going to happen. So I have tried. I'm actually trying to teach an adult woman right now how to whistle, and it's very challenging because I can't see what's going on inside her mouth. I mean, and she's married, I'm married, and like talking about her tongue technique, over Zoom, you got to wiggle your tongue this way. She's like, my husband doesn't even say that to me, and So, but we have not succeeded yet. She still cannot whistle, so I'm working on it.
Great. In closing, you mentioned David, who's a friend and colleague. He's a pretty remarkable person. You have an inside seat to how he operates. I'm going to leave stage. Why don't you just share what it's like working with David?
Yeah, so I've worked with David Rubenstein. Some of you may have heard of him. He founded the Carlyle Group, which is a global investment firm, and he's giving away billions of dollars. So it's a real honor and pleasure to work for him. And he's a very serious, kind of staid fellow, but he loves whistling, and it's just actually kind of bizarre, where whether it's the Washington Monument saying, "Hey, you should whistle when you're up there." Another time, and this is really incredible, he hosts an interview series at the Library of Congress in Washington to try to bring the different parties together, and it's a really beautiful thing. So he interviews famous historians at the Library of Congress, which is the most beautiful building in Washington, and Republicans, Democrats all come together and actually talk to each other. So there is some hope of bipartisanship. But one time he said to me, he's about to go on stage to interview like Michael Beschloss, another historian, and he said, "Hey, why don't you come up and whistle a song before I do that?" And I said, "Oh my gosh," I said, "do you think that's appropriate?" And he said, "Oh, don't worry, they'll love it." So this is that song.
Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis play something to...
All right, this is Battle Hymn of the Republic. I thought it would be interesting for Congress. There we go. Thank you very much.
Do you mind doing one more?
Yeah, I'm happy to, yeah. All right, thank you very much. All right, I'm going to do one more. So this is A Train by Duke Ellington. All right. There we go. Thank you very much.